And now, WWAX Productions proudly presents The Spotlight with Justin Hollywood. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the inaugural episode of The Spotlight. I am your host, Justin Hollywood, and on this show, I will interview local independent wrestling talents around the CSRA, Georgia, Carolina area. My first guest on today's episode is local independent wrestling star Ryan Rain. Ryan Rain, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing alright.
Alright, so I don't want to waste any of your time. Let's go ahead and get into the questions, shall we?
Alright.
Alright, the first question I have for you, Ryan, is how did you get into wrestling? What made you choose this business?
Well, I've wanted to be in it since I was a little kid, you know. Before I can even remember, I had the little Hasbro WWF figures and I think they were Galoob, I think that was the company. The hard plastic WCW figures. So I was doing matches like a long time ago before I can even remember. But it's been a long time though.
Cool. Yeah, I pretty much come where you come from. You know, I have a few figures as well, and a few Hasbro ones. But what were some of your favorite wrestlers growing up?
Obviously Sting. You know, growing up, he was one of my favorites. I like Diesel, and then as time went on, I started liking Jericho before everybody else started liking Jericho, like back in the early WCW days. And then after I quit being scared, you know, I started liking The Undertaker, because, man, as a 6, 7-year-old, he legit scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, I can agree on that as well. You know, the first wrestler I saw on TV was The Undertaker in 2008 on SmackDown. And
that was a tame Undertaker by then.
Yeah, he still kind of scared me though. I think Paul Bearer had came back around that time.
That sounds about right. I think he was there a little bit then.
Right. What are some of your favorite moves in wrestling?
You know, I always like the sidewalk slam. That's one of my favorite moves, one of my go-to moves. You know, I like some of the basic stuff, you know, big boots, throwing a good clothesline out there, you know. One of my favorite moves comes from former ECW champion Mike Awesome, the Awesome Bomb. One of my all-time favorite moves, probably.
Yeah, that is a devastating maneuver. So tell us a bit about your character. How did Ryan Rain come about?
Well, I mean, there's not really much to it, you know. I started training, and it was getting time for me to make the in-ring debut. I didn't have a name yet. I had a few, you know, gimmicks that I messed around with, but there wasn't anything that I would want to, at the time, put them out there in public eye yet. They were just something I messed around with. And then a friend of mine gave me a few names, and I wasn't completely sold on them yet. I think one of them was Ryan Locke. And I was just like, I don't know. And I heard a song, The Rain Wizard by Blackstone Cherry, and for some reason, that's how I got the rain part of the name from that song. And I ended up using that song quite a bit. So that's pretty much how the name Ryan Rain came together.
Cool. Have you won any championships in your career?
2, actually. The TWF tag team titles and the AWA Southern States Championship.
And what are some of the best promotions you worked for?
Definitely APW in Royston, Georgia. One of the top places. If you're wanting to learn, that's hands down probably the best place you can go to right now. They're always, open door, revolving door of talent coming through. But the core group of guys that are there, Jeremy Vane, Strychnine, Brandon Parker, the firemen's there, great group of guys up there, and if you're willing to learn, that's the place to go to. Another one of my favorites was Next Era Wrestling in Alabama. It was pretty much the first night was a little worked a group of guys in a fatal four-way who I don't think knew what they were really doing. One guy came up to me and said he knew what the Tennessee spot was, but didn't quite know how to do it, which kind of confused me because I never heard of a Tennessee spot up until this point. Another guy didn't know any lingo at all, and I don't even remember the fourth guy. I don't think I even made contact with him. But after talking with the promoter, the next show, like half the locker room was cleared out, and the group that I came with were brought back, and we were given so much freedom there that we were just put on the stage pretty much for them. So that was pretty neat. And ZPW out of Walterboro, South Carolina, they are a solid place to be. Last time I was there wasn't a lot of veteran leadership there to learn from, but it's a good place to be. If you're looking for ring time in the state of South Carolina, great place to go to.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard a little bit about APW down in Royston, and I agree they do have some great talent down there.
Yep.
So,
I went there whenever it was under the NWA banner, and Royston is at the time, I don't know if it still is, but it was the feeder basically for NWA Anarchy at the time. So, a lot of talents come through there. Anthony Henry's been through there, Xavier Woods, Sugar Dunkerton. Pretty nice place.
Yeah. So now, more on to your promoter side of things. You have a promotion known as Livewire, correct?
Right.
What made you create Livewire Wrestling?
Well, I remember, when I was maybe 11, 12, TNA had just came out, and we were trying to get videotapes of TNA, and a friend of mine, we'd stay at his house, we'd play, Raw 2, SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth at all hours of the night. And I remember watching TV one night after turning the systems off, and there was an infomercial for, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but those metal buildings, those like semicircle metal buildings that you order and you pretty much build yourself. There was an infomercial for one of those, and we got talking. We could end up getting one of those, and then we stumbled upon Monsters, Rings and Cages, High Spot, stuff like that, and thought, a ring is actually doable. We can buy one of these. And at the time, we didn't know that we couldn't book WWE or guys like that, but we did find a link where we could book, veteran talent and stuff. I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been like Bill Barron's link, actually. And the idea's been pretty much in my head since then.
So, once you got Livewire up and running, Off the Wire was your first event?
Right, and that was a long time coming, really, because I worked with another guy who wanted to help, but wasn't really notable for coming through with things. But I really wanted to get this done, and so he ran a few shows in the area, and they were good shows. But and then the next show he'd just flake out a couple days before, so it was very weary. We ended up going to Alabama Thursday night and getting the ring so we could do the show that Friday. It was a lot of work, but I feel it was very worth it in the end.
I actually watched that show of yours on your YouTube channel, and it was actually a very good show. I give you credit for that.
Thank you.
Would you say that was the greatest event in Livewire history?
No. No, I wouldn't. We've had a few other shows that top that, talent-wise and, fan-wise. Because that first show, we ran against another guy. I want to say it was like Georgia Championship Wrestling. Randomly decided to do 2 events, one in Athens and one in Augusta, the night of Off the Wire. So I didn't get to book all the talent I wanted to for that show because they were booked at the other show. And then they also had DDP there.
Oh, wow.
And it was just 5 minutes down the road. And, we had flyers up. We've been talking about it on social media for a couple months now. And I even talked to them. I was like, why that night of all times? And then they had the nerve to change their tagline to something like the invasion of Augusta or something like that. And I was like, wow, that's crazy to first night trying to promote a show and already dealing with this. But no, we had several other shows that were a little better. But it was a good show, though, I think.
I know I came to a few of your events like Recharge 2 and Battle Lines.
Yeah, both of those were up there. I think the best show we did may have been the first Recharged in 2014, which featured the Fireman versus Coleman, Brandon Parker versus Cameron Cade, Jeremy Cruz and Darkness versus Six, Big Game James, Kid Riot versus Ken Lee, and the card was just stacked from top to bottom. It wasn't really a terrible match on that card.
If I'm not mistaken, that took place at Alter Egos, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I've seen a few clips of that as well on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, there are a few clips, and the DVD is also available if anybody would like to check that out.
Where can we find your DVDs?
The latest shows are available on DVD at www.livewireaugusta.tk. The older shows, from the sector shows, filling station shows, and the last couple Video Game Heaven shows are not up yet. We might start releasing them later, but for now we just have a few DVDs up there, and plus a couple compilation DVDs.
Cool. In your opinion, who is the best Livewire champion?
I think hands down, given what they did after they won the title and after Livewire, Anthony Henry, hands down. He was the very first champion. But as far as he's come since holding that title in 2011, CZW, PWX, all the talent he's worked in PWX even, I think hands down. And then, Coleman would be a close second,
Anthony Henry was actually on WWE.
Right. And I've actually had a few guys that have worked live wire shows that have made WWE appearances, Anthony, Big Game James, even had John Schuyler for a show. And, he's doing pretty good on NXT right now, so.
Do you feel proud of that? That your talent's in the big leagues?
Well, I mean, yeah, in a way. But, I mean, I know that I had no direct influence on them getting there. So, at the same time, yeah, it's cool to see guys that I worked with up there on the higher levels. But at the same time, I can't take any credit for that at all.
Understandable. Back to your career, what are some of your favorite matches and opponents you've worked with?
Favorite matches, some of my best work was working either with or against David Coleman. Few matches with Jeremy Cruz, Ken Lee were always some fun matches. Probably my most favorite match was a 6-man tag that we did where it was me, James Hunter, and DJ Bam versus the Elite, which was Coleman, Cruz, and Charlie Anarchy. Probably one of my top matches. And then I have me versus, Mark Question from RWE back in 2008, and a couple other matches with Coleman that were really good. So,
if I'm not mistaken, your last match that you competed in recently was against Jeremy Cruz in a dog collar match.
Right. Yeah. I originally wasn't even on the card that day, but due to some other circumstances, we had to shift the card around. So I ended up taking the spot in a dog collar match. It was the dedication show for Bam, who had passed away earlier that year. I believe September it was. So, it was one of his favorite matches. And I feel like it was a good way to go out for me.
Is there anyone on the independent or pro level that you like to work? And if so, who?
There are so many guys out there that I think I could have a good match with, but at the same time, I don't know. I think I could have some entertaining matches with someone like Zane Riley. I don't have a real long short list of guys at this point. That I'm not one of those guys that go on Facebook and make a top 10 list of guys I want to work this month. At this point, I'm just happy that I get booked at this point.
Anyone in WWE you'd like to face?
Oh man, I think it would be a fun match with Ambrose. He'd probably kill me, but it'd probably be fun though. Bray Wyatt would be fun, obviously.
So you're going more with the crazy type characters.
Yeah, I don't think I can keep up with somebody like Luke Harper.
Alright, well, we're almost out of time here, Ryan, but I've got one more question for you. Will we ever see Ryan Rain lace up the boots again?
I mean, it's possible. In this business, you can never say never to anything. I mean, look how many retirement matches Terry Funk's had in his career. I wouldn't call what I have really a career, considering I haven't made thousands of dollars. So, I'm not officially retired, but at the same time, I guess you can consider it retired, or semi-retired, I guess. But, if a right match comes along, or, right opponent, yeah, I would definitely consider that. But after 2 knee injuries, within a year of each other, I just don't see myself able to keep up with the always evolving talent that you have out there right now. So, I mean, it'd be nice to be able to try, but I don't think I could at this point. I'd rather not weigh them down in the ring.
Would you ever consider working Justin Hollywood?
Well, I think that'd be an easy match. Send him packing his bags back to Hollywood. That'd be no problem.
It would be fun to work with you, though.
Hey, you never know.
Well, it's that time, Ryan. I thank you for being on the show, and it's been a good chat with you.
Yep.
And,
thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Spotlight. Once again, I'm your host, Justin Hollywood, and I will see you next week for another all-new edition. Thank you.
This has been a WWAX production.